for shine. You feel the ambiance, y'all niggas just rhyme. Body ounce though accumulates like snow. We don't just shine, we illuminate the whole show. You feel me? Factions from the other side would love to kill me. Spill 3/4 of my blood into the street, let alone the heat. Fuck 'em, I hate a nigga loving his life. In all possible ways, no defense is bugging my life. Hospital days reflecting when my man laid up. On the uptown high block, he got his side sprayed up. I saw his life slipping. This is a minor setback, yo, still in all we living. Just dream about to get back. That made him smile, though his eyes said, pray for me. I do you one better and slay these niggas faithfully. Murder is a tough thing to digest. It's a slow process. And I ain't got nothing but time. I had near brushes, not to mention 3 shots close range. Never touch me. Crazy way, without rap, I was crazy street. Hot and I'm still spending money for 88. Japan, yen, the 10 major events. Catch me in the joints, convinced my iguanas is biting. J-A-Y hyping, controlling, manipulating. I got a good life, man. Pounds and pence, enough dollars make sense. While you ride the bench, catch me swinging for the fence. Dead presidents, you know. Every old president's to represent me. Every old president's to represent me. I'm not the presidents to represent me. I'm not the presidents to represent me. I'm not the presidents to represent me. I'm not the every old presidents to represent me. Soviet, the Soviet, the unified steady flow. You already know, you light, I'm heavy road, heavy dough. Mike machete your flow. Your paper falls slow like confetti. Mine's a steady row, ready go. Pay 5 minutes for blow. Better believe I have 1160 to show. Salute, Queen Shower. I got the subscribers mode only today. Man, gotta holler at the family for a second. Blessings to you, Queen. I'm gonna cook, let a few more people come in. Blessings, blessings. Man. Man, family, I just got done watching the Katrina documentary, the Ryan Coogler Katrina documentary. I had to put it on pause and turn it off because, man, I got so angry. I got so angry for the things that I saw happen that, you know, a lot of us just didn't know, and how they did a lot of our people down there. And I'm listening to the general on the documentary who was talking about how, you know, the main mission was to evacuate the people. And then you got this department head at FEMA who makes about 6 figures a year at the time. He don't really give a damn about those people. And then it was false propaganda told to us. And it was open season on young people. So it didn't matter if you were looting or not. They put out a decree, basically, that it's open season on anyone who looks like a looter. And a lot of young men and women
were unalived during that time period because of that false propaganda. I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm saying, man, all of us in America, we were told that basically a storm happened. These people did not evacuate when they were supposed to, so they're stuck. And now people are looting, shooting at law enforcement. That's what they told us. And the American people said, okay, well, they just gonna, they gonna work it out. But when you watch that documentary and you see what was really going on, and you see the trials and tribulations that people went through, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you call yourself. If you didn't feel something seeing that, they had a clip of some good old boys who were talking about, they didn't care who they shot at. They didn't care who they unalived. And you saw people in the community hacking through attics, hacking through roof tiles, pulling out not just elderly black people, but elderly white people as well. Saving people in the community because they were not getting the help that they should have gotten from the government. Fam, I ain't gonna lie to you. My energy, my chi is a little shaky after watching that documentary. And I already been off a little bit today because I'm watching the Brother Champ side this morning, and it comes across that there's a brother in the YouTube content space in the sport of boxing who he says that he wants harm to come to Bill Haney. Now, some of us don't critically think. See, we like the drama. We like to turn on our own people as well. But we don't critically think and look at what's happening until somebody gets hurt. And then when somebody gets hurt, everybody wants to cry and say, how did we get here? How do we get to this point? What set the foundation for this atmosphere for people to get hurt? When you have a journalist, let's get down to it. Anybody that's watching or watches later, I want you to ask yourself, I want you to answer this question. What is the intentions of a messenger? What is the intentions of a messenger that is giving you information? It's either to teach or invoke a mindset into you. Let me say it again. The purpose of a messenger is either to teach or invoke a mindset into you. Now, if somebody gives you false information or false propaganda, what is their intention? If somebody tells you, man, I don't really like this dude. Every day I wake up and I hope to see that something has happened to this dude. What is the energy that you're setting? And all these crazy people that's in the world right now, and you have a big following, what is the intentions of someone So Queen Shawa says to deceive. And that's right and exact. One of the intentions is to deceive. That's one of the intentions. But I want us to think a little deeper. Besides just it being a deceitful thing, what is the intention of someone with a large following to keep reiterating that I hope harm comes to a certain individual? I'm hoping that something has happened to them every time I wake up in the morning. What are they setting the atmosphere for? It ain't that hard to realize what they're trying to do. It's a shame that as a people we haven't learned our lesson yet. All of our great leaders, all of them, something has always happened before they are unalived, before they are assassinated, before there is a, there we go, Queen Shower. I knew the Queen was going to get it. The other purpose is to incite. So we got two. The first one is deceive, and the second one is incite. So now that we're down to that point, the next question you should ask is, my bad, family. The next question we should ask ourselves is to incite what? I have a mass following. I have people following me. I keep repeating this over and over again that I want something to happen to this individual. What am I trying to incite? Now, things are about to get a little strange in the sport of boxing and in this content space. Last year, I started talking about the COINTELPRO boxing fan, and people were laughing and doing things like that. Oh nah. And action, of course, this in particular is violence. That's correct. That is correct. If I keep repeating something over and over again, and you say you like me, you like to hear my voice, you like to hear what I say, I'm eventually giving you marching orders to do something to someone. As a people, we have to take a step back sometimes and pause. Your ego should not drive you to the point where you're about to crash out for real. Because I'm going to be honest. If I heard a man say what was said about Bill Haney by this content creator, I got to keep it real. I would take that as a potential threat, a real one. Because at that point, you taking it past boxing. And you dudes have been tittering the line of that. But now I'm starting to see that the COINTELPRO boxing fan, that's not the most dangerous one. The most dangerous one is the COINTELPRO content creator. What you mean, coach? Think about it, family. Think about all of these content creators who used to be part of the LDBC or used to be cool with some of the truth tellers that they're not cool with anymore. Think about it. If they were once cool, you know and I know that they know good and well that they're practicing deceptive intelligence. Because there was a point in their life, where they were acting like that they were on the side of truth. that they were with the brothers, right? And that's the worst type of brother to have around you. Now, some people is going to take this information, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. But those of you who know how to critically think, I'm going to break it down to the simplest form of what's going on and what's about to happen. What's going on and what's about to happen. What you mean, coach? What is a COINTELPRO agent and what was their job? Those of you who know about Fred Hampton, who have seen the movie, what is it? It's the Judas and Messiah or something like that. The movie that's about Fred Hampton. In that movie, with Fred Hampton, the man that infiltrates the Black Panther Party and turns on Fred Hampton, they don't go deep in detail in the movie, but in real life, he actually commits suicide. He is never able to really cope with what he did for the man. Judas and the Black Messiah. That's it. Thank you, family. Salute. Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, family, I'm going to break this down so simple and plain that nobody should be able to pull a trick on you after I explain to you what is happening and what's about to happen. All you have to do, once I give you the answers, is plug it in and go look for yourself. That's all you got to do. Go check it out yourself. If you haven't seen the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, just hang tight. The movie is about the setup of the assassination of Fred Hampton. And the man that helps assassinate Fred Hampton, who is a brother, he gets paid a little bit of money, something like $300. He gets out of jail time. And later on in life, he actually commits suicide. And in his memoirs, he says that he was never able to cope with turning on his own people. So he started to crash out. Now, family, how many people that have decided to go against their own in the sport of boxing have we seen crash out in the last few months alone? Not just fighters, but content creators. How many of them have we seen just trying to assassinate people's character and cursing at the camera and all of this, crashing out on their own people, and it seems like it wasn't warranted at all for no reason? I'm going to tell you why. This is not a conspiracy, what I'm about to say. This is a fact. There was money pushed into the YouTube content creator space to certain content creators if they would push a certain narrative in the sport of boxing. This is not a conspiracy. Stay with me. I'm comparing the actions of some of these content creators to the COINTELPRO agents that infiltrated all of our movements during the civil rights movement, and how they are the same people operating in the same spirit on the same type of time. Let me say it again. They're the same people operating with the same spirit on the same type of time. So now that I've laid the foundation of what a COINTELPRO agent is, the example of Fred Hampton, and what happened to the brother that actually helped set him up, let me compare it directly to how it correlates with the plan and the plot against not just Bill Haney, but also Brian Norman Sr. Eventually, it's going to be the Mason family. All of these black boxing fathers who they are calling problematic. And the only reason why they're calling them problematic is because they are a barrier between the parasite that wants to put its fangs into the fighter itself. So here we go. Fred Hampton was a threat to the government at the time. Bill Haney is a threat to the status quo of how things are done in the sport of boxing. Turkey is as well, but Turkey Al-Sheikh has too much money, has a nation, and has soldiers behind him. Ain't nothing they can do with Turkey. But Bill Haney is a black man in America, so check it out. The same way Fred Hampton was an enemy to the status quo, Bill Haney has showed us that not only can he get a fighter, his son, to the level that he is at, he can do it without the Olympics. Not only that, he can do it without signing to a major plantation. He does partnerships. He doesn't do the slave contracts that almost every single boxer that when they reach to that elite status always crashes out with Bob Arum, always crashes out with Eddie Hearn, always crashes out with the elites at the PBC. So if this keeps happening, the elites in the sport of boxing, they are going to lose their power. Stay with me. So the same way a COINTELPRO agent would infiltrate those organizations from back then, we need people to infiltrate the sport of boxing under the disguise that they are real true boxing fans to put on an aggressive attack on all of these people who are going to be issues. It didn't start with Bill Haney. First, we had this aggressive attack on Wilder, an American heavyweight, knocking people out cold. There is this aggressive attack and propaganda against Wilder. Okay, we got Errol Spence stepping on stuff, right? There's an attack on Errol. Then there's an attack on Bud. There's an attack on Devin. There's an attack on Shakur. There's an attack on Tank. And it seems like anytime they do just the smallest thing, it's head news for the sport of boxing. But all of these other people, they just get a slap on the wrist for anything that they do. Is this a conspiracy? Or is this things that are really taking place in real time? Real hypocritical situations that just are not adding up. Now, in the beginning, Queen Shawa said there were two things that a messenger is trying to do. If they are giving you false information, they are either trying to deceive or incite. They are trying to deceive or incite. Now, check this out. The true enemy cannot come straight at us how they want to, because that will unify us too strong. You have to know the tactics of the enemy. You have to understand something that they understood a while ago is they can never, ever allow us to come together like we did in the 60s before the Kerner Commission was completed. And if you don't know what the Kerner Commission is, the Kerner Commission, you can look it up. In that document, it goes into every detail of why Black Americans are setting all the major cities on fire, are talking about creating their own political party and are about to get rid of the nonviolent movement. See, what they don't tell you in public school is after Dr. King was assassinated, listen, people, listen, because they're not going to tell you this part. After Dr. King was assassinated, that was the end, listen, that was the end of the nonviolent movement. Let that sizzle in your spirit for a second. So if that's the end, what is the other option? What's the other option? Because Stokely Carmichael's still alive at the time. It's a bunch of militant brothers who were saying from the get-go, man, you can't change these people. So I don't want to get too deep into that. But basically, those wicked demons in high places of power realize we cannot allow them to unify like they once did ever again. And they're using that tactic in the sport of boxing. Look how they're going at Clarissa Shields right now. And they're going to go harder at their sister than they ever have before. Because you had an event in Detroit, Michigan, where 71% of the ticket sales were bought by women. A stadium that fits 15,000 people is sold out, and 71% of those sales were purchased by women. Now, if you don't understand what that means that behind Clarissa Shields is enough women purchasing power in that one city where she don't need to bow down to none of them. And then she has them do lift every voice before she comes out. Everything I have told you has come to fruition in the last year. Everything I done told you. So watch this. We can't come straight at Bill Haney and Devin Haney how we want because all the brothers and sisters will come together. So this is what we're going to do. Listen, family, I'm giving you the playbook. This is what we're going to do. Step one. We're only going to give slaps on the wrist to Mexican fighters who get caught cheating, who could be a potential threat for these guys we need to get out the way. That's one. That's the irrefutable truth. That is something that is happening. That is something that you can't deny is happening. That is something that you can't deny is happening. How many people have been caught cheating from one camp, out of one camp, and there has been no investigation? No investigation. And they all have gotten slaps on the wrist. I think we're at number 7. I think we're at number 7. It's almost 1 or 2 fighters a year. 7 fighters, Queen Shawa said. Step 2. We're going to allow certain fighters to go on racist rants, and we're going to give them slaps on the wrist. We're not going to take no titles from them. We're not going to try to sit them down. We're not going to make any press conferences or announcements about it. We give them a little slap on the wrist because we can't do it ourselves. Because if we do it ourselves, they'll come together. But this is what we'll do. We're going to take one black fighter, take his fan base, and we're going to put it against the other black fighter and his fan base. And while we're doing all of this, these Negroes are going to be fighting with each other so much that they're not even going to see what's happening. Who does that sound like? Does that not sound like the Tank Davis fan base, the Devin Haney fan base, the Shakur Stevenson fan base, the Boots fan base, the Crawford fan base, the Arrow fan base, bickering and fighting between each other and ourselves so much that a brother can get away with saying, I wake up every morning just to see if anything has happened to Bill Haney yet. Let that sizzle in your spirit for a second. These are not by coincidence. These are things happening. These are things happening that have been calculated, but y'all are acting like y'all don't see what's going on. And some of y'all don't. Some of you brothers, I just seen another brother. He trying to get his channel up. I don't even remember the dude's name. He's building his channel. But he's building his channel on the narrative that Crawford is cheating, the snack program, all that stuff. Okay, watch this, family. Watch this. Because I've already painted the whole COINTELPRO agent thing in correlation to how these dudes are moving in the YouTube content creator community, who are trying to purposely mislead true boxing fans. And what true boxing fans need to understand is, yo, once these dudes are gone, they don't care if the sport dies. They do not care if the sport dies. Salute, Trill Will, LDBC in the house. They don't care if the sport dies. So boom. They can't go straight at Bill. They can't go straight at Dev. They cannot go as hard as they want, but what we're going to do is we're going to let our minions do the work. And when they do something, they're going to get a slap on the wrist. Now, those of you who think that's BS, those of you who think I'm being biased, those who think that I'm just saying this because I'm black, check this out. When they thought that Clarissa Shields had cheated, they sent out a memoir, not a memoir, they sent out a memo, same weekend, and said that Clarissa Shields is a threat. Fighters like this is a threat to the sport of boxing itself. That's what they said. Have we seen one? Have we seen one memo like that about anyone out of the Eddie Reynoso camp? Have we seen any memos like that about Eddie Reynoso himself? All of them dudes been getting slapped on the wrist and little to no media coverage of it. No investigation. So when I bring up what a COINTELPRO agent is, when I bring up what a COINTEL content creator is, people want to act like, well, I don't know what he's talking about. All right, I'm about to we gonna teach, and just after this, salute to the Queen Sugar Free Mars, the queen of boxing media, my comrade. I'm gonna make this so plain. If you don't know what a COINTELPRO agent is, when I get off this live, go look up what that is. We have brothers who are moving like that in the space, and they are more dangerous now than ever. The Queen Shower, she said the purpose of a messenger when they are purposely giving you false information is to do two things, is to either incite or deceive. Today, we heard a boxing content creator say, and the last time I checked, that video had about 2,000 views. We heard a content creator say in the boxing space that when I wake up in the morning, I look to see harm come to Bill Haney every morning. Now, family, if you don't think that it's some idiots and some nuts on this internet that are not hearing these things and it's not inciting something in them, you a damn fool. You are a damn fool. And see, people aren't going to take it serious until somebody gets hurt. Y'all brothers would never, you would never say any of that about any Mexican fighter. And you know why? You know there will be consequences like that. But see, y'all think that you can do what you're doing, throw that rock and hide your hand. Now, family, if you're paying attention, when we talk about the purpose of a messenger and the purpose of propaganda, now you got people right now, they're building their channels off of really trying to discredit probably the best super fight we are going to have since Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd. They are already sowing the seeds of bitterness, telling us, well, Bud must be on PEDs. I heard another brother say the other day, well, instead of him giving props to Devin, he said something along the lines of, there is no such thing as 365 testing, so Devin must be lying. Still no smoke for the people who are actually popping hot. Okay. So when I say COINTELPRO and people say, well, Coach, you know, the purpose of the COINTELPRO program was to infiltrate these black organizations and take them down. How are you correlating the two? Well, you have people in the boxing spaces who are moving like COINTELPRO agents to take down those who are going to disrupt the status quo. They cannot come at Turki Al-Sheikh the same way because Turki Al-Sheikh has money and soldiers and is from another nation. But these black fathers who are a threat, they represent that same unity and that same black messiah that they don't need to rise again. If Bill Haney can take his son, take him pro, go over to Mexico, get him to the pinnacle of the sport, he doesn't go to the Olympics, and he has his own promotion company. Not only that, he's doing business and doing business better than the plantations, Golden Boy, Top Rank, PBC, Matchroom, saying that we're not going to sign any slave deals, but we can do partnerships. That challenges the status quo. Now, any brother who is building his channel off of going against his own, and you see this, know what you are. Know what you are. I want you to know that you cannot be on the same side. The brother Dante's Nation dropped a video, and people were praising Tim Bradley for saying that, you know, he made a mistake and he was wrong about certain things. And people were saying, hey, it's all good, brother. You can come back to the cookout. Are y'all stupid? Are you all that stupid? When someone sells out, their people for $1, the way Tim Bradley was going hard, now that it does not benefit them anymore to do that because ESPN ain't effing with you, that don't mean he done changed. He's a more dangerous snake than he's ever been because brothers like y'all are going to let them back into the community. You mean to tell me that a brother can do all of that and all he got to do is say, man, my bad, y'all. Let me get a plate. No other community will let them do that. No other community would allow that. All right, not too much on Tim right now, because I want you all to understand what is happening. So the COINTELPRO agent does that to bring down the whole house. But one thing about all these COINTELPRO agents, almost all of them went crazy. That's what they don't tell you in the history books. Most of the traders and the agents lost their minds. Why did they lose their minds, Coach? When they first were approached by whatever entity to infiltrate these organizations, the person most likely was not in the organization. But even in the middle of you doing wickedness, the truth that you're hearing, imagine sitting there and you're hearing Brother Malcolm in person with the atmosphere, everything that's going on. Imagine hearing a young Fred Hampton, and it's your job to set him up. But in the middle of that, the chairman is saying, I'm not going to die in a car wreck. I'm not going to die in a plane crash. I'm going to die a revolutionary. And you are forced to understand that God is at work here. And you know that you are the spineless nigga that has to set him up. So now, what are we seeing? We're seeing that all that money that was pushed into the content creator spaces when all of these racists and PED cheaters were getting slapped on the wrist, it's not paying off. Not only that, none of their main plantations have the power they used to because a man by the name of Turkey Al-Sheikh is in the business now. So what's happening? Those who thought that this was going to be a long-term thing, they're seeing that they can't depend on Tank anymore. Devin is fine. Wilder is back. So they need a new black punching bag or a new brother to put on the whipping post. You brothers in your 40s and 50s that are selling out a young brother like Devin for $1, you all are some of the most disgusting lapdogs in history. So let's speed up. So whether you want to recognize it or not, we have men who are moving like COINTELPRO agents in these content creator spaces because it's safe. It's safer now to be a COINTELPRO agent and move in that spirit. It's safer now for them than ever because number one, they're going to get money and reimbursed by a lot. Number two, they're behind the keyboard. If they don't want to, they can operate and we'll never see them. See, before it was a lot more dangerous because you had to be up on the person you were setting up. But now they can do a live and say, I want something to happen to this person. And y'all think it's a game. See, but you have to be careful the energy you put out. Because while you sitting there acting like you this and that, there are people that are really like that. There are people that will come find you because that's the energy that you're putting out, being something that you're not at a time when we all should be coming together. Why is propaganda so dangerous? If you did not watch the Katrina documentary by Ryan Coogler, make sure you check that out. Because they show you in the documentary that when help was on the way, false propaganda was put out by a black man. And it was open season. So instead of them flooding resources to the city, they flooded troops with rifles first. So instead of it being about an evacuation, it came about martial law. But see, there are consequences for what you do and what you say. And this right here is getting out of hand. See, before, it was like, man, why you brothers shucking and jiving? But now, y'all want somebody to get hurt? You want somebody to get hurt. You get on your live with 2,000 people watching saying, I wake up in the morning praying and hoping. You know how much you gotta hate a man? Anybody that I have dealt with in life, ain't none of them I'm saying, man, I wake up every morning praying on your downfall. Family, that is a devil. That is a devil in human form that's crashing out. Because the more time goes on, truth is always revealed. And what these brothers and sisters are seeing now is that they was never with y'all. They gave y'all a little cash because you had a job to do. But you all thought that they were going to keep, y'all all can't get the showbiz spot. Showbiz got his check. And if the zone tells him he doing too much, he gonna be like, all right, I'll chill out. But now the rest of y'all gonna try to come back. Like our brother Tim. Ain't my damn brother. Now Tim is apologizing and speaking ill on people they never met or had any dealings with. That's crazy. That's crazy. Family, do you not know that there are people who will let you run your mouth and they'll let years go by and you think it's all sweet and all good and something happened to you? Cause you talking on here like you Scarface, you on here talking like you Nino Brown, calling for harm to come to somebody, and you think stuff is sweet. All right. There are certain things in the universe that you can't take back, family. And let this be a lesson to every young brother that watches. There are some things that you put out into the universe that you can't take back. And the only thing that can save you is something that is out of our control. If you're humble enough to learn from your mistake. But you can't keep putting seeds into the ground of warfare and then act like a victim when trouble comes your way. I don't know what's wrong with these brothers. But the boxing world, I'm gonna keep it real. The boxing world is getting tired of you niggas. Straight up. The boxing world is getting sick of you niggas. They're doing fight hype interviews. They're doing interviews of boxers, and they're asking them, yeah, how do you feel about this PED thing with Terrence Crawford? And the boxers, you can see it on their face. Black boxers, white boxers, Mexican boxers, they like, look, hey man, don't come in with that BS. Crawford been clean. He about to put on a great fight. Y'all get the fuck out of here with that. Well, Canelo said, get the fuck out of here. One of our biggest fights. So not only are these agents in the YouTube content creator spaces as an enemy to certain fighters and their fathers, they are actually enemies to the sport itself because they don't want the best fights to happen. They don't want to see Tate versus Shakur. They don't want to see Devin versus Norman Jr. put on an amazing event. They hate seeing Lift Every Voice and Sing being performed before Clarissa Shields comes out. They are not with us. That's what I'm telling y'all, family. They not with us. You got these dudes, people, look, family, some of these guys just got into boxing 5 years ago. They don't love boxing, but they saw that they can make $1 off of being an agent of chaos. Listen to me, family. They're not with us. Propaganda is dangerous. And watch what the hell you say. Why are we on here wishing harm on another black man like that? What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? That's why our people are treated the way they're treated in the sport. Because they know that we got fighters that's like that and we got journalists that's like that. And a journalist that is putting that type of energy out is not a true journalist at all. This is a person that is an enemy to the sport. Rachel Donaire called in on Drew Titan's channel a few days ago. And she said straight up, she said, yo, I'm sick of this. She said, you got fighters who done moved their families around. You got fighters who done been in camp thinking that they're about to fight on Tank's undercard. It don't happen. What do these fake journalists say? Man, Tank can do what he want. He got legal issues. Tank can do what he want. He got legal issues. These the same dudes that said Devin don't need to go forward with the legal proceedings. He just need to take it on the chin and get it back in blood. I can't make this up, y'all. That's what they said. They said Devin needs to get it back in blood and don't worry about the legal stuff. But Tank, even though he done bonded out, look, hey man, Tank might have to go sit down because he was on probation. Floyd Mayweather beat Cotto and went to jail right after. Give me another excuse. Give me another excuse. You ain't got it. My brothers always say the truth stands alone on its own. And when you start talking to these brothers, you start hearing what they saying, you start realizing like, yo, you ain't for the sport of boxing at all. You really an enemy. Like you don't want none of our brothers to win. It don't matter who it is. You literally are the manifestation of a traitor to the very liberation of our people. That is the spirit that you operate on. That is who you are. So they say to me, they say, hey, coach, you're going too hard on him. Am I? Am I going too hard on him? When you got people under posts of our amateur fighters who are children using racist narratives, calling them yellow and Tom and Jerry fighters, these are grown men attacking children. And you still got brothers, grown men, way older than me, hating on these young fighters. They don't give a damn about the sport. These are the same men that's telling Keyshawn, man, bro, you can, hey man, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Who's seen the MC Hammer story? That one of them old flicks that used to come on VH1 and BET all the time, the MC Hammer story. If you all remember in the MC Hammer story, those who haven't seen it, you know, MC Hammer had went bankrupt. And it's because MC Hammer was taking care of everybody. When MC Hammer used to travel with about 100 people with him. Because he had his dance crew, he had the music crew, sound production, the dudes that would get busy if they need to get busy, right? But this is what I learned at a young age. Everybody who kept telling him, hey man, just blow it, blow that money. Once the money was blown, they was gone. Once the money was blown, they was gone. So all those brothers that were in that video with Daniel Du Bois, headed to fight Usyk, they wasn't in the locker room after. What happened to all those people? See, those are the people that's gonna have their hand out once they get paid, because they know what time it is. Where were all of those Shakur fans once it was time for him to fight Zepeda? The same ones who were rooting for him when he was disrespecting Devin Haney? Yeah. What happened to them? Y'all don't get it. They're not with us. They're not with us. If you love the sport of boxing and you keep entertaining false propaganda and false narrative, understand that you are complicit in the degradation of your own sport. You are complicit in the sport failing, and you're sitting there rooting it on. When our fighters step up to the plate, we should be screaming from the hilltops, that's our man. Here we go. And unless there is proof or hard evidence that there is wrongdoing, keep your mouth shut. Because see, as soon as you all start with the narrative, it's everywhere now. It's all over. What you think about Terrence Crawford and Snack? What you think about Terrence Crawford and Victor Conte? People acting like we didn't see Terrence Crawford when he was a lightweight deadlifting 400 pounds before he was even a snack ambassador like that. Y'all wasn't saying that then. You all didn't start talking about Victor Conte until Ryan Garcia popped hot. Let's just keep it real. Let's just tell it like it is. Y'all didn't start talking about Victor Conte until Ryan Garcia popped hot and Ryan Garcia started talking about Victor Conte. Y'all Negroes were not talking about Balco. The only brother that I know for a fact was talking about Victor Conte years ago was Drew Titan when Mikey Garcia was about to fight Errol Spence. But y'all will tell me, y'all will tell us that ain't happened. And it did. Salute universal truth. Now let's go back, because we always go full circle. Queen Shawa said that the purpose of a messenger that gives you false information and a lie is either trying to do two things: deceive you or incite something in you. So let's think about this, family. And I want you, with that beautiful brain that you have, I want you to critically think for yourself for a second. Here we go. If I am a content creator, and let's say I have a difference of opinion from Coach Hudson. Let's say that I believe that Victor Conte is a poison to the sport and shouldn't be out, because I am a diehard lover of the sport of boxing, and cheating must not be permitted in this sport. He needs to go. Cool. Fine. Now, if that is your stance, where are your other videos on Eddie Reynoso? If that is your stance, where are your videos on the fact that all the people who were in the corner of Margarito doing the hand wrap scandal 2 years later, all of them were allowed to operate right back into the sport of boxing? If that is true, and you are such a lover of the sport, and you just can't have any cheating permitted in the sport because you really care, why are you only talking about Victor Conte and only talking about him now? It's because you are a goddamn liar. That's why. You are a spineless COINTELPRO nigga. That's why. And you don't really like the sport of boxing. You don't love the sport of boxing. You are a traitor, a turncoat. And another time in history, you would have had to deal with my black ass trying to hit you upside your head. Because real consequences are happening. People are dying in that ring. And we can't even put up no real fight because we got our own who make it hard. You a liar, that's why. See, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that you are for a sport that you want to be clean because you love it, and then you start pointing attention towards Crawford, but you don't say nothing about Canelo, who actually got caught cheating. You don't actually say anything about the man who they raised the clenbuterol levels for so that he can actually have it in his system. Family, think about this for a second. Canelo is still using the same amount of clenbuterol that he was able to use before because the amount was raised for him. Are you all can you fathom what the hell I just said? Absorb that, family. Absorb what I just said for a second. Forget what they saying about Terrence. Think about this for a second. A man gets caught cheating in the sport of boxing. They raise the level of clenbuterol so that if he, let's say it's in the system again, They're going to check it off because they raised the level. So does anybody notice that all these weight levels, all of these weight classes that Canelo has gone up, even though he started as a teen, how many people do you all know have gained that much weight and stayed shredded the whole time? Now, look, I could offer that right there, start a narrative that he might be cheating right now. But I'm not going to do that because there's no evidence, there's no proof. But see, that's what true brothers do. See, it's some of you brothers right now who's going to watch and say, before I said that, you're going to say, well, you know, he was a teenager, he was becoming a grown man. Well, you can't say that, coach, because you ain't got no evidence. But y'all do it about Terrence Crawford. You all do this false propaganda about Devin Haney. See? And see, you can't, man, look, you cannot get that small time stuff on me. Anybody that's been in the gym, anybody that has basic knowledge of it, we all know that you do not move up like that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Y'all know what the hell I'm saying. The point I'm getting at is, when these content creators start messing up our biggest fights that's coming, this ain't about just no one man no more. This is about them taking down the actual standard of the sport. See, if they can lower the standard, they can control it more. And for brothers that's saying, well, you know, we ain't got to all have the same opinion, let me tell you what we do need to do. We need to properly cover all posts and to properly relieved. And what that means is you cannot protect something that you can't control. So once a narrative gets out like wildfire, because you are complicit in doing that, do you think that you're properly covering your posts? Hell no, you're not. But they want to tell me, coach, it ain't that serious. All right. So y'all be thinking, man, look, some of y'all be thinking that people don't get hurt behind words. Some of y'all think that, and if it happens, if somebody gets hurt, the first thing they gonna do, y'all, they gonna blame us. They're gonna blame black content creators in the sport of boxing for fueling the flames of whatever happens. And they're not gonna point at one man, they're gonna point at all of us. That's what's gonna happen. Mark my words. That is what's gonna happen in that order. Everything that I've said and I've told you. So let me end here, because I've been live for a minute. I was watching the Katrina documentary, like I was telling y'all when I started my live. And it dawned on me the dangers of propaganda and the consequences of it. Family, we got to be louder than these people. We have to. I don't know how. I think at some point, if we don't click up about nothing else, we're going to have to click up about getting this truth out. Even if we do something where whoever has the biggest channel, who we know is a truth teller, at some point we all get on their panel and start making the truth ring, then that is what we need to do. Salute to my brother Drew Titan. That is what we need to do, plain and simple. What we need to understand, people, is that there are people that get on YouTube that are not right in the head, that are idol worshipers of some of these content creators. And when a content creator says dangerous ideology, he is giving marching orders for something to happen. Brother, you better watch yourself. Because the energy that you're putting out, you might think that you are safety behind the keyboard in your home, but the way the universe works, it's gonna come back. This shit done got too far. And what I heard today, hearing another brother say that when he wakes up in the morning, he wishes harm comes to another black man. And see, some of y'all are at an age can't nobody tell you nothing no more. Some brothers, when they get gray in their hair and gray in their beard, you can't tell them nothing. But somebody need to and reel him on back in. Because if something do happen, I'm going to have to look at you like, yeah, you a COINTELPRO agent for real. See? Because the elite and the powers that be, salute family, they want something to be done about Bill, and they can't do nothing. And some of you brothers are on here trying to do their work. Some of you sisters too. So it's time for the truth tellers to stand up, plain and simple. Family, I'm going to get on out of here. I want to give a shout out to everybody that tuned in and talked to your brother for a second. Salute Dale Reeves. Salute Drew Titan, LLC in the building. Salute Universal Truth. Salute to our queen of boxing media, Sugar Free Mars, my comrade who is always speaking the truth so eloquently. And some of them words I be having to look up, but I still bear witness to what she's saying. Salute to Akil Vibes, everybody that came in. All right, family. I'm gonna catch y'all in later in the week. Everybody enjoy the evening. And just think on what Coach said. Peace to the family. Peace to my comrades. And it's always smoke to you COINTELPRO boxing fans.